It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margee McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hi, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez. Margee, so good to see you. It's
so
been
good to
so
see
long.
You. I know. Happy 2024.
Happy 2024.
So happy
2024. Me too.
I'll apologize for my voice up front. I went to the Rose Bowl game. I'm a Michigan alumni, and we won in overtime, and I used all of my vocal cords to scream us to victory. So I sound a little Kathleen Turner drank glass shards.
Love it. I think it sounds sexy and gravelly, and I love it. And it's always fun when you lose your voice to something like that.
Yes, it's the best.
Yeah.
My niece was with me, and we both screamed, and she had like muscle pain in her ribs from screaming so hard. It was great.
That's amazing.
Anyway,
so
Beverly Hills.
We are back with Beverly Hills, which, you know, in light of Salt Lake City, which we will get to later, this episode was tame, quasi-sophisticated, if I may be so bold, but it's called Relentless Erica. Re-lentless, as in Lent is over, and Erica is going to be, the real Erica Girardi / Jane will be ushered in. And if anyone hasn't read the news this week, Tom Girardi has been found to be competent to stand trial. So, TBD, more will be revealed, and I can't wait for that one. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's just another big ball of lies about to roll down into a shit pile. So we pick up where we left off at Taco Tuesday at Crystal's house. Crystal's house?
Yeah, they're at Crystal's for Taco Tuesday, yeah.
And Dorit had demonstrated what a coward she is, and she leaves the party after being called out for her privilege. And then we move on to Erica and Denise's fight about this comment made 4 years ago. And Erica's mean, but I think she's right. This child is an adult now. This was 4 years ago. She did apologize. Denise agreed that she also has a filthy mouth. She talked about her husband's schlong at the table, as what's it called? She set the precedent. So Erica was not completely out of line. And also, who cares anymore? I couldn't. I mean, it was hilarious to watch them drink tea and grunt at each other and go like, and that. But this whole argument, I have no dog in this fight at all.
I think, yes. At first, I thought Denise had valid points because at the time, her daughter was a legit teenager. And teenagers, their prefrontal cortex are not developed. They are still operating from a lizard brain. They are still considered to be children. And so at the time, I thought, I understand where Denise is coming from. And she should, if anyone is in a house with children and the parent says, hey, could you not say that? It's a good idea to abide by that boundary. However, when we roll tape and we see that Denise is talking about Aaron's, generous anaconda or whatever the hell, it's like, okay, you guys are both full fucking hips. And she did say she was sorry. So I don't really understand, other than I guess Denise needed to make a splash when she returned. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think Denise just needed something to talk about. And, I'm with Erica. Erica said, Denise, I have nothing left for you. And that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
This was great, but.
My least favorite part of this scene was at the end when Kyle says this should all be about, we should completely leave off family and children should be off limits. And I naturally think to myself, okay, so like when you and your husband and PK and Dorit were at your house and you're all laughing at Jax on camera, fuck all the way off, Kyle. And then Garcelle says to Kyle, well, why didn't you say that to Erica right now? And Kyle does the victim martyr thing she does that triggers the shit out of me and starts asking why people didn't stick up for her last week at the cannabis dinner. A, it's apples and oranges. And B, you're such a fucking hypocrite, dude. You're such a fucking hypocrite. And Kyle, it's not about you. She needs she needs like intense fucking Al-Anon on top of intense. She just needs to be deprogrammed from all of that bullshit of growing up in a toxic alcoholic home.
I mean, I wish she had just asked about why people didn't stick up for her. She whined like
Yep.
a child. She
Yep.
was like, "Why didn't you guys say that about when Mauricio, the ring of
Yeah.
Mauricio? You guys all said." And first of all, I'm with Garcelle in her confessional when she says, like, "Well, I didn't stick up for Kyle because I too have questions about her marriage." But Kyle really, in that moment, I was like, "Oh, she's 8 years old and nobody's listening to her, and she's doing that thing that little children in alcoholic households do, where like you have to get their attention. So you whine loud and make it about yourself because no one else is going to make it about you. But like it is
Dude.
not appropriate at this age."
No.
It
Oh my
was so
God.
uncomfortable.
It's not appropriate, and it is so the physical reaction that my body has when I see Kyle acting like that. Just watching people play out in front of my eyes, watching them play out their shrapnel, watching them just yeah, it's so uncomfortable. And it's so clear to me that Kyle just has so much residual trauma, yes, and things to work out. And then poor Crystal at the end with her magical thinking. Magical thinking also is something that comes from, it's a term that's been coined to identify some of the thinking patterns you can come up with when you're trying to make someone who's toxic into someone they're not. When she's like, I really thought Erica had changed. Oh, poor Crystal. Oh my God, it has been like 5 minutes. Lent is what, 40 days? So
Yeah,
if
it's
they,
40 days and 40 nights. And Crystal is
yeah,
just, I want to be on her side so
me
bad.
too.
I want to like her so bad, but she weirdly just keeps missing the mark for me in like every
Yeah,
way. And this moment was one of them. I was like, I didn't even understand why she was so outraged about Erica. She said it was because of the children thing. But again, like these aren't children anymore. It was 4 years. Like, why aren't you outraged about Garcelle being someone saying that she's been on the attack? Like, why
right,
isn't that upsetting you? Why are you mad about something that happened 4 years ago at a barbecue
right,
that's everyone apologized for and got over? And
right,
I don't know, man. This
right.
was weird.
I get it. I get it. And then we move to Dorit's house with Erica, where Erica fills Dorit in on her fight with Denise, and Dorit asks what the conversation with Garcelle was about. And for Dorit to be acting in any way, shape, or form other than kind of like, I am, like if she had said, Erica, I just am so disappointed in myself. And I feel like I've just got to make things right with Garcelle, but I completely understand why she would have said that to me the other night. And I don't know how I'm going to make this up to her and get her to know that I hear what she's saying and I blew it. But no, she's like, "I don't understand." Anyway,
Well, but that's the thing is like, even if she doesn't understand, she could say, like, I don't know what happened, but my friend was really pissed off,
yep,
really upset, and I have no idea what I did. So I'm gonna have to like have a conversation with her to figure out like where the disconnect was. Cause I don't think Dorit does understand what the fuck she did. But to turn herself into a victim and be like, I need a few days to process things. And I was blindsided. I
oh
thought
my
we made progress. And I
god.
was like, a relationship, you don't get to just make progress and then it's over forever. Like
Yeah,
a relationship ebbs and flows and you have to build it and grow it. And that requires growing pains. And this could have just been one of those. But instead, Dorit decided to become a defensive victim, which was just such a, oh God, it was such a bad look. Such a bad look.
such a bad look, so repellent. It does nothing to plus, at some point in the episode, they rerun the scene from 2020 when they're having the conversation at, I believe they're in Palm Desert at Kyle's the house that Kyle stole from Kim.
You stole my
You
house.
stole my house. And that's when Dorit makes the comment, the infamous comment now, like, oh, well, I have lots of people of color that work in my house. And Garcelle's like, what about people that don't fucking work in your house? And then she says, well, my mom's best friend is black. Like,
My God.
literally, just like problematic bomb after problematic bomb being dropped at this lunch 3 fucking years ago. There have been 3 fucking years for Dorit to be working. She's had 3 years to hashtag listen and hashtag learn, and she clearly has not, because it feels like everyone knows there is not, you don't use certain words. Coded language is a thing, and to not understand that in 2023, it's willful ignorance. You have to actively work hard to not know that, in my opinion.
I
Anyway.
agree, but I think Garcelle's right. Dorit lives in a bubble, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, she's unwilling to like even peek her head outside of the bubble for a
Right.
second. I think she thought like, I have a black friend now, so everything's fine. I can't be
Totally.
called racist. It's like, no. And I think Erica was an asshole for defending her. She said, Dorit's not malicious when she knows better, she does better. But if you're defensive and unwilling to learn, then you're incapable of doing better. You're
Right.
just going to repeat your same pattern. So Eric is wrong and didn't need to defend it. The two of them, yeah, where I was
Oh, God.
not enjoying their conversation.
Not at all. Oh, gross. And then the way it kicks off where she's a performer. Oh, she's got her catwalk walk down. Oh my God.
That
And
was so
calling her
weird.
princess, calling Phoenix princess. It's just so Jesus Christ, y'all. It's 2023.
I
Come
mean, it's
on.
fine if that's like, I don't know. It was just bizarre. It was like, you're going to bring us drinks and you're going to catwalk them over to us. It was just like very, I don't know. She could be a cocktail waitress at a strip club. Like that's kind of that job. It was just
Yeah.
a
It's
weird Phoenix cameo.
so on brand for Dorit and Erica.
Hmm.
Ugh.
And this FaceTime with when Garcelle FaceTimes with Sutton broke my heart because
Me
Garcelle revealed
too.
that she cried herself to sleep that night and cried for 2 days after being accused of attacking. And her confessional was so sad. She says of Dorit, she doesn't get me. She doesn't get my world. She doesn't care to know. And that last sentence was just like, oh,
Yeah,
that that must happen with a lot of frequency, and it must be so disappointing every fucking time. And I love Sutton and Garcelle's friendship here because Sutton reflects back to her friend like what she understands is hurting her, and Garcelle affirms that. And then I heard Sutton at the end of the call say like, "I hear you," and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's so." I'm not a huge Sutton fan, but I love their friendship. I
I do
really
too.
believe their friendship, and Sutton is really present for Garcelle in a way that Dorit is, forever incapable of. She can't listen. She's just that person who's always thinking about what they're going to say when you're done talking.
Oh God, it's palpable. It's palpable. She's doing, yeah. I, it's no secret how I feel about Dorit.
Dorit.
Yeah, Dorit. And we kind of pivot back to Dorit's, where she's still upset, trying to wrap her mind around it, why Garcelle reacted that way. Erica makes excuses for Dorit, circle jerk, nothing new.
Mhm.
And then, oh no, Alessandra comes to Sutton's for her Sal date debrief, and she comes on strong about their outfits. Again, who gives a shit? Everyone in the world. I mean, yes, I guess, Margie, if you and I both showed up wearing pink, I'd maybe say something. I don't know.
It just they Alessandra is such a difficult figure. She's so I don't know, she's just like a musical theater chorus girl out in the world, and that's a hard person to be. And but Sutton is such a pill. She's so like I don't love Alessandra, but Sutton is she's so shitty about this. Why did you hire this woman? At one point, I don't even know what they were talking about, but Sutton's attitude was so shitty. Alessandra had to say, "We're almost done. We're almost done." And it's like you hired this woman to move you into a romantic adventure. And she's having to say, like, we're almost done. It's not a dental appointment. I don't know. I can't. With this whole storyline, I'm off board. I'm done. Sutton's dating life, I call bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
But Bachelorettes, they introduce him and he looks cute, but Sutton's a bitch about him. He's VP of sales, and she's like, I don't know what that is. And Alessandra, for a brief second, becomes a human person and was like, it's a job. And I was like, yes.
Totally. I loved it when the veneer fell.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's have a reality check. That was her version of like, snap out of it, Sutton. He has a
Mm-hmm.
job, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Which, no, should I don't know. Fuck it. It was like, should the bar be that low that it's like, but it's true. Just
I
calm
mean,
down, Sutton. But
it's
I get
just
it.
she's just supposed to be going on dates. Like, it's not like
Yeah,
she's agreeing to marry someone. Like,
right.
VP of sales, whatever. And by the way, at the date, it sounds like he was an actor because he said he played a dead body. And I was like, "You're
Yeah.
not a VP of sales. Or if you are, you were an actor in a past life."
Oh god, I hope that's not why he's on the show, is to be an actor and get noticed. But why would I think otherwise? I mean, that's how everyone on fucking Vanderpump Rules got started. They all wanted to be actors.
Yeah, and he's cute and
Mhm.
charismatic. He beat Sal by
By
miles.
miles.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh god.
then we move on to Kyle's, where she announces that she's having apples and peanut butter. And for whatever reason, that bothered me. And her why? Just shut up. Just eat your snack and don't tell me about it. And Kim comes over, and I am loving this sister relationship because it's very true to just figuring out who you are to each other once the primary alcoholic is out of the picture.
Yeah.
And Kyle gives Kim this hummingbird necklace and talks about the significance of hummingbirds in her life since her mom died. And usually I hear people tell these stories of like, I saw a butterfly flying and it reminded me of my mom. And Kyle's like, I had a fight with my sister and there was a dead bird on my kitchen floor the next morning. And I was like, oh my God, the ghost of Big Kathy is an alcoholic bitch. Like, that is so intense. It's usually like I thought of my mother and a bird tapped on my window and it's like, Mummy? But this is just like, I'm going to put a dead, I never see a dead hummingbird, never in
I've
my
never seen a
life.
dead hummingbird. You're absolutely right.
But Big Kathy tossed one on Kyle's kitchen floor. I don't know.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. Lisa Rinna also talked about Lois being a hummingbird, I believe.
But
But
like a live one, not like you
yeah, a
almost
live one,
crush
not
it
one
when
on not a carcass on the kitchen floor.
first thing in the
Oh
morning. I
my
mean, it's
god.
just so.
How the hell does that happen?
And why did you want to put it on a necklace? It was just so. We
Oh,
must have missed some other elements of that story, but that particular piece of it freaked me out.
it was nice that she gave the necklace to her sister.
Yeah,
This is
that
a
was sweet.
complicated relationship. This is a complicated relationship with these three sisters.
But even when she gave Kim the necklace, she's like, "No, I want you to have it because when I saw it, I thought, oh, I should get one for Kathy and Kim and for you and for you." And I was
Totally.
like,
I noticed
"Oh
that
my
too.
God,
Oh my God,
she's
Kevin.
standing right there. Just say her name first."
Woo.
God.
But there were some really good points that were brought up in this scene, and I was very glad for it. We have the flashback to 2010. This is 13 years ago when Kim called her sister an alcoholic in that limo. And I wonder, looking back on that footage from last night, I wonder if it almost seems to me like they could have gotten into physical blows in that limo. And it's just if you've grown up as a child or children, siblings to an alcoholic parent, I'm just telling you that limo scene is 100% accurate. That is a perfect snapshot of what it's like. And they are adults, which means you never escape the shrapnel that you encounter living in an alcoholic parent, living with a parent that's an alcoholic until you do some deep, intense work. And even then, it's going to show up here and there. You know, you'll probably recognize it really quickly. You'll probably be able to like go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was me, feeling triggered and acting blah, blah, blah. But when you don't do it, that's what happens. You get that limo scene
Yeah, but
anyway.
I was happy to see like the progress because that in that scene, Kyle had done no work on herself and has only started to this year. So she's a little, overcorrecting in a lot of ways. And Kim was still an active addict, So to see
Yeah.
this scene on the other side of that, I thought was nice. They're talking about Kim's daughter's upcoming wedding, and Kim mentions that she doesn't want family tension disrupting the day. So she suggests that Kyle might consider talking things through with Kathy. And Kim gently says to her, "Do you think you were wrong in any way?" And Kyle gets so bitchy and she goes, "Do you know everything? Do you have all the facts? You don't know the whole backstory. So we'll talk about that another time if you want." Like she was just like right down her throat. Just, yeah.
And the answer, the only answer to Kim's question should have been yes, period. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
and it's not that doesn't remove fault from Kathy in any
Nope.
way, but like, we have a part. We
Everyone has a
we
part.
pick up the rope to play tug of war. If you drop the rope, you don't have to get into this shit, which is where Kyle gets eventually. Basically saying, she's trying to create boundaries with Kathy.
I,
Um,
I did
yeah.
appreciate, though, them rolling the tape and we see the flashback of Kathy telling Kyle that, yeah, she is a martyr. She's a martyr. And it's true. That is Kyle's role. Everyone is assigned a role as the children of alcoholics. You're a scapegoat, you're a victim, you're a martyr, you're the one that's perfect. You
You're a
know,
clown.
you're the clown, right? I mean, these roles are going to continue to be cast. None of these roles are unique. They're all textbook proven. you know, every therapist you see that specializes or focuses on dealing with the family unit under a cloud of addiction, this is what you're going to hear about in those sessions as you recover from living with that disease. And anyway, I appreciated it because everybody has a part. And Kyle is a fucking martyr with a capital M and a victim with a capital V.
Yeah, but I did appreciate her saying, and I related to her, Kyle saying she's not willing to be mistreated by Kathy anymore, that she's not going to take the meanness because, I have people in my family who take that path and it's brutal because I
It
don't think
is.
they know that they're doing it. And so you can't change anything that you don't acknowledge. So to keep putting myself in the line of fire, that's where I'm doing something wrong, to answer Kim's question. But yeah, this was just a whole addressing childhood trauma scene because Kyle starts her confessional talking about she doesn't do well with chaos. She talks about that coded language that people use to describe an abusive parent, big personality, fiery temper. She's Irish, she's an Aries, like all of that stuff. And clearly that had a major impact on Kyle. And I'm sure you and I both relate when she said, that she's committed to having a home that does not have yelling and fighting. Like that's a top tenet for me.
Oh, yeah. For me too. But the thing is about your household and my household is that we just deal with things in a different, saner, calmer, healthier way. And I don't know if that's what Kyle's doing. Like there's avoiding conflict just to avoid conflict. And then there is working through conflict in order to come to a better understanding and a way to move forward in a healthy way. And
You're
I don't know
totally
that
right.
that's what's happening in Kyle's house either.
I think it's starting to, but I think you're totally right. Her version of like not having fighting and yelling and conflict in her house was to just be the agreeable wife and be
Yep.
like Mauricio's sidekick. And
Yep.
now there's a major backlash to that she's experiencing. So yeah, hopefully she finds her way to healthier tools, but just like you said, avoiding conflict doesn't solve the problem that
Right.
caused the conflict. It just delays it.
And the other thing that's interesting that came up, and this is so hard for me. This is so, so hard for me. And I talk about this in therapy a lot. Kyle is very interested in being right when it comes to Kathy versus being happy when it comes to Kathy. And as an adult, I still have so much. I have a lot of feelings about that because in my opinion, in like when I look at it in a way that isn't, how do I say this? From my highest self, from my a most spiritually evolved place, when I let people be right, to me that can that can mean that I'm giving them carte blanche to treat me like shit. And That's not true. It's just an ego thing. It's like, do you wanna be right? Do you wanna be happy? Is it this big of a deal, or can I let it go? And it is one of the hardest things I've ever done as a human. It is by no means easy. It is not, I don't know who can even do this perfectly, but is Kathy ever gonna change enough to be satisfactory to Kyle to have a relationship, or is Kyle going to have to accept Kathy where she is and want to be happy versus wanna be right? I don't know.
And
I
that's where
understand.
I think Kim is such an interesting contrast to Kyle because Kim is in that place. I wrote down Kim has done some work because she
Totally.
talks about she breaks down talking about how much she loved her mom and that Kim didn't realize how angry she was with her. And she asked, like, do you think she knew? But Kim talks about how she understands her mom more now. Like, she's released those resentments and the anger toward her mom. And she's like, you know, she's a she did the best with what she's got, you know, she's embodying that idea.
Yeah.
Like we all say that, or I'll just speak for myself. I say that, a lot about people in my life who disappoint me. I say they do the best with what they got, but I see that Kim really believes that. And she wants
Yeah.
to hang on to what was good about Big Kathy, which was her belief in family, that family sticks together no matter what.
Yeah, which I have a lot of feelings about, which I've talked about, because I don't believe that people should just stick with family if that family is extremely toxic or narcissistic. I don't believe that there's any good that can come from that. So
Agree.
I was really hoping that Kim wasn't rewriting history, or yeah, just rewriting history, you know?
But she did mention something that I thought was interesting in that hug where you couldn't really hear everything they were saying, but she seemed to mention that Kyle's relationship with Kathy is sort of a mirror of Kim's relationship with Big Kathy. And, you know, I thought that was an interesting observation. And I appreciated Kim backing off at the end of the scene and just acknowledging Kyle's trying to figure out her boundaries. And Kim just says, you do what's best for you. And this is all about her daughter's wedding. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be that cool. I'd be like, get the fuck over it. You guys have to figure this out because this is a
Yeah.
once in a lifetime day. It's about my child. Don't be a dickhead. But she really handled this in like a very loving, gentle way, I thought.
I did too. I did too. Yeah, you're right. Kim has shown a lot of growth, and bravo,
Hmm.
bravo, bravo. Then we pivot to Crystal's house, where she and the fam are preparing Passover dinner, preparing their Seder. She briefly fills in Rob about Taco Tuesday, and then we get to, oh, do you have anything before? Yeah, I
No,
just saw
no,
your smile.
the flashback of Crystal screaming about how everyone wants her to scream, you know?
Yeah,
Because Garcelle was like, "You should share more." And she's like, "Why does everybody want me to scream?" And Garcelle says, "We're not asking you. You won't be satisfied unless I'm screaming." It was very Crystal again. I want to feel for her, but like I felt nothing when she's like screaming and coming undone emotionally. I was just like, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
Anyways,
Uh, then she starts telling Rob about how she's feeling about her friends, namely probably Kyle, I would say Kyle and Erica, being so skinny, and talks about how distracted she is by that. And she touches on how the impossible LA standards of beauty and bodies is really hard to live with. And I talked about this a couple episodes ago. She's not wrong. And this is Crystal Minkoff talking about this. This is a woman that has a beautiful face, a beautiful body, a beautiful home, a beautiful marriage, and nobody is fucking immune enough or rich enough to escape these standards. And some people's brains just hook into it more. As someone who had an eating disorder and someone who was obsessed with the size of my body and the size of other people's bodies by proxy, it was just it the the time and hours I spent in obsession, you know?
yeah.
So,
No, I think and that's I was thinking as I was watching this, that that's, like, the only mark of recovery, I think, for me at least, from my eating disordered behavior, is that the amount of time I spend thinking about that shit anymore, it always comes up. I think I've talked about it on every episode of Beverly
Probably,
Hills
yeah.
because 'cause I'm distracted by it every time, but I just spend less time thinking about it and less energy investing in it. That's the only recovery I can I don't think it ever goes away. I don't
Right.
think you just get to the point where you're like, because it's not just, I mean, Kyle and Erica are newly thin, but Dorit is a toothpick, Sutton is a
Yeah, you're right.
toothpick.
You're right. You're
And
right.
I know that feeling because I'm tall, I'm 5'9", and sometimes I just feel like a fucking bull in a china shop when I'm around like petite actresses. I just feel like a fucking monster. And I know rationally I'm not, but it
No.
doesn't matter when you're in the
Yeah.
presence of you just feel like if I breathe wrong, I'm going to shatter these like gorgeous frail women.
Oh
And
my God.
anyways, I just Crystal
I
is speaking a lot of people's experience.
I remember I got I earned my eligibility to join SAG working on the Fast and Furious 2. And I was, for me, my body was rail thin at the time. Like I had fucking ribs. I had, you know, if I wore a bikini top, I would sometimes get like a little scab on my collarbone from where it dug in. And those things all got me real fucking high. Let's not I was real grateful for those physical touchstones. I was cast as like a fucking dancer at some party in the Dominican Republic, which was really just shot in San Pedro. Okay, let's not get it twisted. And it was fucking freezing and we were all wearing summer clothes. My point is I was a size 6, and you would have thought like, I was next to people that I'm like, "Oh my god, is wind gonna blow them away?" And so when you're, like, the only size 6 person next to size double zeros, and you're supposed to be playing the same role, it was such a mind fuck for, like, 48 hours on that set. Just like I wasn't in booty shorts, I was in real low slung fucking tight butt pants. But, like, I wasn't in, like, the booty shorts because I was a size 6, you know? I wasn't the double zero. And it was just
And that's for background work
that's
in
for fucking
Hollywood. It's
right,
like that's how
exactly.
intense it
That's
is.
how intense it is, yeah.
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 I got my SAG card doing extra work on Jiggly, the movie with Ben
Oh,
Affleck and Jennifer
yeah.
Lopez. It was so stupid. We had to go to the beach at 4:30 every morning and wear bikinis, and it was fucking freezing as well. I
Yeah.
think that's part of, getting your SAG card in that era is you have to stand nearly nude in a freezing cold venue
Oh my
a few
god.
times.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Fucking crop tops. Crop
Yep.
tops in fake Dominican Republic. Anyway, so Rob completely misses the point and says to Crystal, "Well, you just need to you need to be less self-conscious." And I in this scene I thought, "Who the fuck does he think he's married to?" And
And
ma
also, don't you think she could?
yeah,
She would if she
exactly.
could. We all would. If I could just shrug it
Dude,
off, what a gift. It's not like that, buddy. Like,
no.
oh my God.
It was so I just made me think like, "Oh my god, I really hope that Crystal isn't out there by herself as an island in this marriage."
I think
Because
she is, and I think that's why she has these controlling tendencies over her brother, which she brings up now. It's all control,
Mm.
body stuff, eating stuff, brother
For
stuff. Like she's
sure, for
just trying to
sure.
wield control in different areas of her life instead of admitting that she's powerless, but maybe her life isn't unmanageable yet, so she doesn't have to do anything about it.
I mean, Rob got a fucking F minus on that one.
Mhm.
So stupid. But I mean, but you're beautiful. Like, fuck off. No, no. People can put a fucking Miss America tiara and like sash on you. Fuck it, Miss Universe. And you're still going to be like, oh, fuck. I miss leg day, you know?
And just, like, acknowledge her feelings. Instead of
Exactly.
just telling her she's wrong to have her feelings, just say, like, "That must be really hard for you right now. I did notice that Erica's stick thin, and I know that you think about your body a lot, and I'm sorry that
Exactly.
that's bringing that up for you."
Exactly. Oh, God. He
But
blew it.
whatever, he
He
sucks.
blew it.
Yeah, this was not a good showing for
Yeah.
Good old Rob.
It was good to see Crystal, some person on this cast, taking responsibility for her past actions with
True.
Jeff, you know?
True.
That
Yeah,
was
she
that
really
was
understood, yeah, where she'd fucked up and how she wants to do it different. That was nice to see.
Mhm, mhm.
Then we go into Sutton's date. And again, I feel like she's difficult, bordering on mean. And I know that she's just nervous, and that's probably how she expresses it. But last night I was really pissed off about this because it takes effort and it takes energy to be open and to be kind. And he was putting in all that effort, and you don't, if he's putting in all that effort, don't say, I don't care. That's fucking rude, especially when it's followed up with 10,000 qualifications. You do care what you eat because you told him no meat, no chicken. I don't eat spicy food. I'm just saying, if a man treated a woman this way on a date, we would all be appropriately up in arms. We would condemn him for his shitty assholery.
Yeah,
But because she's a woman, she gets to just treat this guy like shit maybe again, it's because I relate to his position of like, I'm always trying. And the meaner they get, the harder I try. And it's just
totally.
like, don't be mean. You'll burn a half a calorie more if you take a breath and try to be nice. Don't go on a fucking date if you can't be open and you can't be nice. I didn't enjoy it. I just think was being like aloof and disrespectful and a fuckwad.
Hella defense mechanisms on display.
Yeah.
Hella defense mechanisms on display. It's true. He, right off the bat, you could tell that he was nervous and
Mm.
trying when,
Mhm.
like, before her ass hits the cushion on the seat, like, "Oh, well, what are you drinking?" And she's like, why don't I sit down first?" And I was like, "Oh, he's real, like, he's trying real hard to put on a good impression." And yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna here to judge whether or not she wanted chicken or meat or whatever on this on
No,
this
it's not
date,
about
but
that. It's
yeah,
just
it's
he
like
said, "What do you want?" And she goes, "I don't care." It's like,
yeah,
"Well, then why are you fucking here?"
right.
Like, if you don't care, that's just there again, it's just there's another way to say it. Take a breath and say like, "You go ahead and order for us. I'll eat anything." Same message, but just fucking not being a bitch about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then his
Oy, oy, oy.
karaoke list, they lost me when they were both like, "We love karaoke." And I was like, "Oh, I don't love karaoke." And his
I love
karaoke list
karaoke.
but he's like a 60-year-old man, and on his karaoke list is Nookie. You know that song. I did it all for the
Oh my
Nookie.
god,
Come
I
on.
mean,
Can you see that guy screaming
I
that?
absolutely
So
cannot.
you
I
could take that cookie and
absolutely
stick it up your
cannot.
like
Oh
that
my
man
god.
was the most pleasant, benign individual on the planet. And the fact that anyways, I would be willing to go to karaoke to see him rip it on Nookie.
Is Brass Monkey still open? And
Yeah.
it is? Oh my
Fully
god.
survived the pandemic.
Did it
Yep.
really? Oh,
Oh
that's good.
yeah.
I'm real glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I used to like Brass Monkey, from time to time, go do some karaoke.
Breast was fun.
It
I
was.
don't mind being in a karaoke bar. I just don't like feeling pressured. Like when
Oh,
people are like,
yeah.
"Get up and sing." I'm like, Can I just not, please?" No,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oy, oy, oy. But yeah, it was a better date to watch than the one that she had with Sal.
Yes, she
And
did improve, marked
yeah.
improvement.
Ay, ay, ay. Well, good luck to Sutton and Steve. More will be revealed. Oy boy. And here we
Um,
go.
Here we go
Here we
into
go.
this painful lunch. I will say, and I'm sure you noticed this too, that in spite of like all of the discomfort around this meeting, Garcelle was so kind to every staff person she encountered, looked them in the eyes, said thank you. Even when they approached at inopportune moments, she was always like, whatever.
Mhm.
I just, that's a good person right there. Cause
Mhm.
it didn't seem,
Mhm.
she didn't have to think about it. It was reflexive. And it just
Exactly.
means that she's
That's
aware that other human beings exist, even if they're not in her same tax bracket.
yep. Yep.
And it's
That's
that kind of thoughtful effort that I think Sutton could apply to her fucking dates. Just think about the other person for a beat. Not anyways, who cares? We're on to
ref
Garcelle and Dorit in this painful lunch.
reflexive is the perfect way to describe it. Absolutely. When you don't have to think about it or try, it just is.
It's not a performance. It's like,
Please, thank you. I respect your humanity. I
yeah.
acknowledge your fucking humanity. I
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge your humanity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I just thought, like, why is Garcelle even giving Dorit the opportunity to meet with her? Fuck Dorit, you know?
I think I thought that Garcelle came just to help to give because it all sort of happened in a flash that night, and I think Garcelle maybe came just to explain to Dorit exactly what happened and, like, what motivated that, and she did a lovely job of it, saying, like, "These are 3 words that you cannot use," and honestly, Dorit, I was so she started off great. She said, "I really wanna make sure I hear you and that you feel like I do," and I was like, "Yeah, Dorit," and then 5 seconds later, she's immediately a condescending, defensive victim. It was just and then I mean, this every exchange was excruciating. I would be mortified if I was Dorit watching this back. I would move. It's just terrible. Because she does that thing that everyone does that I can't stand. You don't get to discount someone else's hurt or your bad behavior by saying you had good intentions. It
Yep.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Your
matter.
intentions don't matter. That's nice, but you have what you did is indefensible. Garcelle's trying to explain to you why. You have to take responsibility, otherwise you're just a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I love the exchange when Dorit goes, "Well, if I offended you in any way," and Garcelle goes, "Oh, you have. That's why we're here." I was
Yeah.
like, "Yes."
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Just the shock that Dorit had when Garcelle felt that her words did have malintent. I just fucking can't, dude. I just can't. She says that she says that Garcelle is wrong and it's hurtful that she believes that Dorit had malintent, and ah I I don't even I can't listen, like, my articulation just, like, fucking shit the bed right now. I can't even talk, I'm so
I mean, it's such a pervasive problem of white people, and I notice it a lot in white women being so afraid of being accused of being racist that they go on the defensive instead of just hearing Garcelle. She said, Dorit says, "Do you believe I said that with bad intentions?" And she said, "Yes." And in that moment, I would just try to think about like, "Oh, I don't understand how that happened." Like, just but instead Dorit is immediately defensive and it's just the worst. And she goes on to say, "I want to listen to everything you have to say, but I also feel like I need to be able to defend myself." So
ugh.
this is the worst part. She goes, "So if you haven't finished, I want you to get it all out. But some of the things you're saying right now, they're not only wrong, but they're incredibly hurtful." So now all of a sudden it's Dorit's luncheon
It's
about like why
Dorit's.
I'm hurt and why what you said was wrong. And Garcelle just looks defeated. And it's just, then she said, "It's the best thing I've ever heard." Garcelle explains to Dorit that her pattern of behavior exhibits unconscious Karen behavior.
Oh
And I
my
love that.
god. I
Such a
wrote that that was being kind.
I wrote that too. I said, "What a
Yeah.
generous way to
What a
describe Dorit's willful ignorance."
completely. I loved it, and, like, I know that this wasn't the point, but to see Dorit's reaction to being called a Karen, oh, it warmed my Grinchy heart. Like, I was just like, "Hee, hee, 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 hee. You are, you're a Karen, you're a
And
Karen."
Dorit says that that's a serious accusation. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
take it seriously. If you don't want to be a Karen, you need to change your behavior. Because Garcelle is telling you that over years you have a pattern of unconscious Karen behavior. So instead of being a defensive twat about it, I don't know.
You
This
know,
is
it's
I
true.
was infuriated.
I just I don't understand how someone can be so clueless. The seriousness and accusation, as if being called a Karen. Being called a Karen isn't going to have your life ended by a cop or have you unfairly arrested by a cop. Words that have been, coded language that have been used for Black women, it's done on purpose to, like, support the systemic racism that's, like, in place, you know? Being called a Karen is embarrassing at best. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't fucking know, thank fucking God. But, like, I would imagine that's the worst that can come with it, is that you're a Karen. You're being called a Karen.
I
And
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
Dorit is just like, she exhibited everything you are, just the worst possible way to have this conversation. And Garcelle, on the other hand, did a lovely job of like keeping her cool and staying present for this idiot. Because Dorit says, "What are you saying, that I'm a racist?" And Garcelle says, "I'm not labeling you. If there's racist undertones, that's not my fault." I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then Dorit says, "If this is simply about me using a word that triggered you, if that's all this is about, then I'm apologizing." And it's like, you have missed the whole fucking point. If you think that this is about the word attack, you've missed the entire context of this conversation,
Exactly.
including your brown helpers and your mom's black friend. Like,
Right.
you are so off the fucking mark here. And then she goes, "I mean, you realize I'm Jewish,
Yeah.
Garcelle."
Oh, man. Oh, man.
And I loved Garcelle for laughing and saying, like, what does that have to do with anything? We're both parts of marginalized communities. Not not what this lunch is about. Not what this lunch is
It's
about.
not what this lunch is about. And yes, and she goes on to say that, we're both privileged. We're both privileged. I would argue, like, Garcelle was not always fucking privileged. Dorit, from what we see of her parents, especially like the earlier seasons when, I don't know, would they, one of the yacht birthday parties or whatever, one of the performative fucking birthday parties that she threw for PK, where I think her parents or his parents flew in. Like, there's differences in privilege, and the privilege is possibly generational on Dorit's end, you know?
Absolutely. It's
Um,
the privilege. It's white
it's
privilege. Like, you are
white.
born,
Yes.
it's not fair to anyone, but it is the truth. And I'm not suggesting it's easy to be a member of the Jewish community right now, oh my God. And I'm not
Hmm.
suggesting it's easy to be a woman, oh my God. But like, don't, Dorit. Like, just like, this is not the time for that argument.
It was
It's
extremely naive of her to say
And I
that.
loved Garcelle for throwing back in her face when Dorit's trying to defend her privilege or challenging that she's privileged. And Garcelle goes, "You're a citizen of the world. You speak 4 languages." Like, that was Dorit's proclamation about herself.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Ay, ay, ay. Jesus Christ. So poor Garcelle says she's going to try to move forward, which, I guess could kind of harken back to when I said earlier, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Like, we all know. And on the cosmic slash psychic scoreboard of existence, Garcelle is right. Dorit is wrong. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. No fucking nuance. It is what it is. And Garcelle is like, I work with this woman,
It's so sad. The
you
bar
know?
is so
It's
low.
so fucking low. It's
She goes, "I'm going
subterranean.
to try to move forward because I don't hate you." I'm like, that's the bar? Oh my
Mhm.
God, that's so fucking
I
sad.
know. I
And then
know.
Dorit again, "I'm very sorry that it triggered you, that her words, certainly not her. I would never want to hurt anyone intentionally." And Garcelle says, "I believe that. I just think the choice of words was horrible." And Dorit says, "Thank you for saying you believe me." It's like, oh my God, you missed the second half. That's the point. Oh my God. And then Dorit in her closing confessional, I was just enraged by the end of this. She says, "This was a learning lesson for me. I was unaware." And then the rest of this, she says, as if she is being put upon, like she's a little snowflake saying, "I now realize I have to be more aware of what I'm saying and who I'm saying it to." As if like that's such a burden for you, Dorit. Like, oh
Completely.
my God.
Oh no, the labor I have to do, the emotional labor I have to do to, navigate in this fucking in this world.
Well, and the implication is that Garcelle is asking too much, that Garcelle is
Yeah.
so fragile and difficult that she needs me to
Yes.
think about what I'm saying and who I'm saying it to. I don't have to do that with anyone else, but Garcelle is going
Right.
to demand this. It's just such a gross attitude. You learned nothing. You suck.
She does suck. She
Okay.
does suck. And I was going to say something and I completely lost what the fuck I was going to say. Oh, yeah, like the fact that Dorit has like literally lived her entire life and she's benefited from the color of her skin unconsciously,
And
you
her
know,
size and like
and her
everything. And she's
size,
beautiful. Like,
right?
she wins a lot. When she walks into, if Dorit and Garcelle walk in side by side to any place of business, it's likely they'll have a different experience, and in
Mhm.
Beverly Hills especially.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, Dorit, you're a loser. You lose. You
She
lose.
sucks.
She sucks. She sucks, and, I loved it, and I can't wait to go on Reddit later today and see what people are saying about her being called a Karen.
I mean, an unconscious Karen is like the
Unconscious
best
Karen.
thing I've ever heard.
And now that I don't think is gonna be merched. I don't think anyone's gonna be rushing out to make that. You
Good
think they
point.
are?
No,
I'm not wearing a shirt that says unconscious
no,
Karen.
I don't know. No, it's a
I'd
brilliant.
make one for Dorit,
Yeah, but she
but
wouldn't wear it. She's
she
gonna wear
wouldn't wear it.
90s supermodel.
Oh, she's so dumb. And she's gonna carry around the free clutch bag that Sutton gave her years ago. Remember when Sutton I think when she first opened the store, and she gave everybody those clutch bags, and they had it like the little strap built in, so your hand just sits inside of it, and then you don't have to, like, spend as much effort carrying it. And I
Mhm.
noticed that she wore her free clutch bag with her 90s supermodel sweatshirt to the Taco
Oh,
Tuesday party. I don't know why I remember shit like this versus other stuff that's legit important in the world, but
no,
I
I
remember
mean,
that. It's 'cause
yeah,
I'm not a f I'm not ash am I ashamed to admit this? I might be a little ashamed to admit it, that I like seeing Dorit look like a fucking idiot because she's an idiot and I feel validated.
it doesn't
So,
take much, man.
it
Beverly
doesn't.
Beach, like everything she does, she
Beverly
just is a
Beach.
idiot. But
"You
I
don't have
did,
my
I'll be
bronzer?"
honest,
Yeah.
as much as I hated Dorit by the end of this episode, and then they showed scenes from next week where PK says, some of your behavior, I believe, is PTSD, but some of it's just annoying. Or like he said, it's just obnoxious, or he said something hateful. And in that moment, I was like, well, Dorit's getting her punishment as well. He's such an asshole. Oh my
He's
God.
he's such an incredible asshole. And I was wondering too if she had the conversation with PK about Taco Tuesday, because we didn't see that conversation, but I can only imagine how it went. And I can only imagine that PK probably came to his wife's defense and said shit along the lines of, "Well, doesn't she know how you are? Why would she think that you had malintent?" And he's just going to fuel her fire. And I don't, yeah, I'm going to wait and see. I hate Dorit. I don't
Hmm.
believe that the robbery wasn't, a plan. Maybe she was not aware of it, but I'm sorry. Allegedly, whatever I need to say to like avoid getting sued. But I'm cynical as fuck when it comes to her and her disgusting ass husband. So I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I feel like the only reason why how do I say this without just seeming completely cold and heartless? When Dorit used words like triggered at lunch, sometimes it feels like Dorit clings to these therapy words, therapy vernacular to kind of sound smarter. And so, I don't know, maybe she is being annoying under the guise of PTSD. I can't believe I just said that out loud.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I just keep thinking about that actual incident. Like, I would never get over that. I would never feel safe alone in a space ever again. And I'm
Yeah,
certainly not open to PK calling me
you're right.
obnoxious
You're right. You're right.
for having feelings
You're right.
about a fucking 3-person armed robbery with my children in the house. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think you're right. He probably, again, as we've said before, I think PK was involved in
Yeah.
orchestrating that robbery. So he's impatient with
Allegedly.
her,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
with her process of getting over it. And I don't
Yes.
think he anticipated that she would be so harmed, mentally. But that's what you get. PK, allegedly,
Yeah. Fuck off, PK.
honestly.
Lay in the bed with No, I'm not even gonna say that saying because that's stupid. Lay in the bed with dogs and you get fleas. That's fuck you. Not every dog has fleas. Who came up with
Most
that?
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you lay in the trash, then you're trash. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, then
Maybe
you
that
get
one's
garbage juice on you, and
Yeah, you
that's
get
what you
garbage juice
deserve.
on
That's what
you.
you smell
Fuck you,
like.
PK. You're gross. You're gross. Anyway, I don't know. I'm starting to get exhausted by this season, and I feel like last night was what, episode 7, 9, something like that?
Oh,
Feels
God.
like forever since we saw the Eagle Woman has landed.
Oh my
So,
God. It
yeah,
does.
yeah, it does. And we've only begun to scratch the surface with Kyle and Morgan,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll see, but
Yeah. It's a real soap opera this
it
season.
really
Lots
is.
of storylines, lots of intrigue.
Speaking of, what else did you watch this week? And
Well,
I
you
know the
know,
answer.
I watched
Yes.
Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Yeah, and I as of this moment in time, I think I'm team Monica because I didn't think it was like as they all lie all the fucking time. This wasn't that big a deal. If she's telling the truth and that she only posted things having to do with Jen Shaw needed to go to jail and be arrested. She was
Right.
doing terrible things and she wasn't stopping. So if that was her like silent superhero moment, that's fine. And again, I just if you're in the public eye, people are going to open accounts about you and talk shit about you. Like stop reading it. Stop DMing them back. Just I don't
Yeah.
know. They were also
Yeah.
mortally wounded. She obviously withheld information, which they probably would have liked to know, but their reaction to it, like meeting on the beach beforehand, she's not who she says she is. It's like she I guess it just didn't seem out of alignment with who she is as a human being to also have a burner Instagram account where she shit talks housewives.
Totally.
That seems like the type of gal she is.
Totally. It was very powerful reality television to watch. I almost want to say that I was more riveted by last night's finale than I was anything with Scandival. I mean, or maybe just that there's been a lot of time since Scandival kind of came out. Anyway, a lot of speculation has gone on since that aired that Heather knew about this since 2021 because I mean, I'm sure I was about to say a million of you, like a million people are listening. Oh, yes. I'm sure all of you. But it's true. I wonder if by now a lot of people have heard that there was a cease and desist letter that came out in 2021 sent from Jen Shaw's lawyers to Monica, Koa, and a woman named Savannah. Tanisha's name was not included on this cease and desist letter, but I believe it was from March of 2021 where they, and in the letter, it references you're spreading rumors and illegally taped videos on your account, Reality Von Tease, too. So, did Heather know about this account for 2 years? Probably. Did the other women know about this account for 2 years and who was behind it? Possibly. I don't know, but Heather probably for sure did. And people are starting to put things together like that's why she, was kind of like on the fence about Monica. And that's why she formed an alliance with Lisa Barlow. And anyway, God damn it. I mean, we all thought for a hot minute that we had an unproduced, raw moment. And again, that's on me. That's on me for having magical thinking about these shows, you know?
I mean, but even if it was produced, I loved
It
it.
was
Like you
great.
said, it was great reality TV. And,
Yeah.
Heather's and maybe it was just the mood I was in when I watched it, but her speech to me was just hilarious. She's like, I ate so much shit for that woman. She gave me a black eye. Like, it's not, we all knew that. Like, we all knew.
Yeah.
Thank you for confirming it, but I also don't feel bad for you about it anymore. Like, I don't know. The whole scenario was just so visually and emotionally ridiculous, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much, like, I deeply care about that particular betrayal, but I loved what it turned into.
Yeah.
That closing scene was phenomenal.
I'm going to watch it again for sure on
Yeah.
Peacock, the uncensored version. But
Ooh,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, the uncensored, maybe longer version. But yeah, it was oi oi oi. I wanted to be on Monica's side so bad and I just sometimes she plays dirty and I don't like that. Do I understand it and where it's coming from? Yes, but I don't like it and it's mainly because her kids, dude. She's on TV. She's on TV. Her poor
True.
children,
That's very
and
true.
just because someone is a quote unquote adult doesn't mean you're going to act like it. Dude,
No,
everyone needs fucking therapy. This only
that's the
comes from
truth.
damage. Okay, yes. Does it come from wanting justice for victims? For sure. That I understand. but this just didn't feel like an act of Robin Hood on Monica's part,
I
you
think it was a
know?
little bit of all of it. Like, I think she did do a good thing by turning Jen Shaw in, but I also think there was another way to do that without starting a Housewives reality account,
Right,
like gossip account. But I
right.
think she enjoyed that part of it too. So I think, as I was telling you before we started recording, I really want her to come back. I want to see what Monica's season 2 looks like with this group, but it really felt like she got voted off the island last night.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if the other women would film with her.
if they want to be on the TV, they'd have to, you know?
Dude.
I mean, we'll see. The Vanderpump, upcoming season will give us a template for what it looks like when cast members don't want to film together.
True. I don't have faith for that season either.
I don't either. I'm
I
already
really
kind of
don't.
bored of it.
I am too. It just feels like it's gonna be it just I just can't buy shit now with that show, at least. I don't know.
No, and we've seen what happened. Like Ariana came
Mhm.
out on top. Tom and Raquel didn't go the distance. Like, I don't know. I guess I just don't
Sheena's
need
a
to see that.
fucking asshole friend that no one would ever need, and yeah, Tom Sandoval likes to go to Thailand and get his photo taken with abused tigers, so
Oh
cool.
my God.
Yeah, yeah, he's a
Oh my
piece of shit.
God.
He's so gross.
He just can't get it right,
He
man.
can't, dude.
If he just lowered his profile for 6 months,
No, can't
eh,
do it.
he literally can't.
Can't. He survives on it. He thrives on it and
He
survives on it.
does.
What else did you watch this week besides Salt Lake?
I don't think I watched anything. I watched football all week
Yeah,
because it's the best. I love college football, and that was the best football week of the year for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
So, yeah, I was just constantly watching football games. How
All
about
right.
you?
Let's see. I mean, everything was dormant on hiatus for the holidays. So let's see. I watched Salt Lake. Miami. Was Miami on last week?
Miami was on, or maybe it was on last night. I don't know. I'm behind. I'm like an
Yeah.
episode
I
behind.
think Miami was on last week, and then I watched last night's, and I'm trying to remember if I don't think I can even remember what was on last night. Oh yeah, God, Anna Quincones came back, and that was weird. And I wanted to like Anna, and then when they started showing her on that horrible man's podcast, he is a piece of shit. Behind
Who's that?
the behind the velvet rope guy, David Yontif.
Oh, I don't know who that
He's
is.
he's not he's gross.
Okay.
He's a gross he's no me gusta. No me gusta David Yontif. He's ew. Anyway, so anyone that like associates with him or Heather McDonald for that matter, I already automatically have like, okay, well, you've got problems. Anyway, oh, what else? Watch some scripted stuff. I'm in denial. No, I'm not in denial. I really hate that Big Mouth has one season
Ending.
left.
Yeah.
And so I am trying to save my episodes of Big Mouth. Started watching a show on Showtime called The Curse with Emma Stone. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, talk
That
about
looks good.
unconscious Karen. Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
really?
it's so good. It's just like, you know how Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm makes you cringe from his behavior? You're just like, "Oh my god, Larry, don't." It's like this, but it's not a comedy. It's like satire big time, and
Wow.
so it's just even worse. But yeah, there was just a lot of I don't know what we even watched. It was that weird holiday weirdness.
Yes, it was
So,
a lull in everything except college football.
except for
So
college football, right, right.
Oh, you know
Um,
what I have been watching also is Hard Knocks in season on HBO Max. It's more football. They're
uh-huh.
following the Dolphins, who are having an incredible season, and they're like an adorable team, and that's another great one. If people like sports documentaries, that this season is really good. Not every season of that show is great, but this one is. Anyways,
Anyways,
what
I'm
was
like,
your antidepressant?
my antidepressant is that it was a really nice, chill holiday. Last year, it was terrible. I was a stress ball of I was gonna come hell or high water, I was gonna make it a perfect holiday, and in that and through that endeavor, I was a fucking nightmare, and I don't wanna say I ruined Christmas Eve 2022, but, like, it wasn't good. worried that the house wasn't decorated and the food wasn't ready on time and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh my God. This year, I made the decision, like, I started thinking about it, probably in the fall, like, I'm not doing that this year. And I didn't. And I'm really proud of myself because I didn't, I did it for me, but I mostly did it for my family and friends. And that's okay because I wasn't compromising myself in making a choice to do it for other people. I knew that making that choice for other people would benefit myself as well. Does that make sense? So, like,
Absolutely.
if I was still like
It's
tweaking
like, yeah,
decorations on Christmas Eve, and last year I would have made that mean something different. And this year, it just meant like, you know what? Back in the olden fucking days, they used to decorate on Christmas Eve too. So you know what? Depending on what era you're in, maybe I'm way ahead of the fucking game. Food was what it was. I put the appetizers in the kitchen so that I had people in there with me while I was like finishing dinner. So I thought that was pretty fucking genius. And it was just really chill. We chilled on my kids' gifts this year because last year it was just how much shit can I cram under the tree? And it's not about that. There's stuff that I gave him last year that he doesn't even play with yet. Like he has not painted the fucking raw wood birdhouse. He could give a rat's ass. He wanted as many like Lamborghinis under the fucking tree as he could possibly get, whether it was a Hot Wheels or a die cast or a whatever, like that's what he fucking wanted. And so there was less, but it was more. And one of my best friends came up for New Year's Eve with us. We got to go back to our favorite restaurant that we hadn't gone to because of COVID. And then last year, our house flooded. It was real nice. It was just a lot of PJs, a lot of chill. And I'm so grateful. Yeah. So that was a big 2-week long antidepressant.
I'm
Hmm.
so happy to hear that,
Thank
especially
you.
because I've known you forever and I know what a huge adjustment this is that you've made in 1 year. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
it is. I agree. Thank you.
And in terms of doing it like, quote, "for other people," it's sort of that idea of like, the right thing is not always the easy thing, but you
Hmm.
seem to feel so much better on the other side of the holidays this year than you did last year.
Big
Like,
time.
last year, you were tormented through it
Oh,
and on the other side of it, and
yeah,
this year, I mean, it sounds like you really enjoyed your holiday season,
I
which
did.
is great.
Yeah. And to
Yeah.
not have to say you're sorry, like, over Thanksgiving with your family and over Christmas with, you know, your immediate family, that's fucking gold.
It is. It really is.
It really, because, when you can go to bed at night and just not have any regrets about your behavior, it was super, I'm so grateful. And you're right. I did work. I want to acknowledge that I made choices. I made
You did a
choices and I
shit
kept
ton of
talking
work.
about them. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Talk therapy,
Yeah.
psychiatry, ketamine therapy. Like,
Yes.
this does not come just because it's not like Rob saying, "Just make a decision,
Just
like
yeah,
yourself more." It's
just
like,
be less
"No, dude,
self-conscious.
it
You're
takes
right.
concerted, consistent effort." And you
You're
did
right.
that, and you got your cash and prizes this
I
year, and
did.
I'm really pleased to hear that. I'm so
I
happy.
thank you. I did. I now that you mention it, like I did an at-home ketamine treatment on December 23rd because I knew the next day, I had my plan, get up, make the pie. Everything was on a timeline and I was like, "All right, let's do it. Let's prep yourself." And so I did. Better
I mean,
living through
and I'll
chemistry.
paint the birdhouse next time I'm there,
I
you
know. I
know?
want to
We
yeah,
can do it
let's
as an activity.
fucking paint the birdhouse. I know,
Great.
right? Anyway, what was your antidepressant?
I mean, my antidepressant was going to the Rose Bowl game. It was the most beautiful day. It was Michigan has had kind of a challenging season. We've been accused and probably have participated in some cheating. So this game was a really big deal to prove that we have the skills, even if we don't cheat. And it was a really close game the whole way. It went to overtime, and we won in this most thrilling way. Like, all offense, defense, and special teams contributed to the win. So it was like a full whole team experience. The seniors had a lot to do with how the game wound up. And I went with my niece who loves football and is a, Michigan fan by proxy. And we just had the best time. I can't find the words to say like how gorgeous the day was, how thrilling the win was. Like, we didn't want to leave the stadium. We stayed there
Aw,
through the trophy presentation, And then we just watched confetti blow around for a while. And then we were like, I guess we got to go. But it was amazing. And I will ride this
Oh,
high for a while. And I'm wearing my
oh,
Michigan Rose Bowl
yes, you
sweatshirt.
are.
And it's so soft and new. And there's a championship game on Monday, but this was it for me. The Rose Bowl game was what I cared about most. So it was a delight.
I'm really glad.
Yes, my
I'm really
happiness is
glad.
tied to a team of children. But it came through this year, so
Oh my God.
it's all good.
Listen, yeah, that's people love it, and that's great, you know?
I know
Yes.
you hate it.
No, I don't.
But
I don't hate it. I hate football is so hard for me because of like it's just
concussions, and
the
it's
wreckage of
terrible.
my past. And that's true. Like it was just that it was like my dad's obsession and, I just like the sound of it makes me crazy. Like it literally
Yeah.
does not sound I hate the sound of it on coming through speakers. When I was at University of Washington, I did go to a couple Huskies games. Only when I had amazing fucking seats for free, but I did, and it was fun, and I understand that they're playing in the
Yes, the
thing next
championship
Monday,
game,
so
yeah.
that's, I get a little pride from that, but, no, I'm all about the NBA. We watched the Laker game on
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
Day, and they lost to the Celtics, and that sucked. It was still good to watch, you know? Gotta
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, NBA is my jam. It's glamorous, it's fun.
it's great, and there's
L
10,000 games a year, so you don't have to
Exactly,
wait, like, all week for a game.
exactly. So, everyone, I know that we talked about recording an episode while we were on break, but clearly we did not. We will still be doing it. I would like to share with people, my therapeutic ketamine, my ketamine assisted psychotherapy experience and journey with everyone. So it will come out at some point. The holidays were just
The holidays,
the
they just
holidays
were
were the
what they
holidays.
were.
The holidays were
Yeah.
holidaying. Yeah. So, and
Mhm.
it did feel rejuvenating to get a little bit of a rest. So, thank you for
Yay.
bearing with us. Anyway, if you want to reach us, you can do so at a therapeutic dose at gmail.com. You can follow us on our Instagram, which is a therapeutic dose. Please rate, review, subscribe. We would really appreciate that, and it definitely helps us. Margie, anything else?
That's it. Just everybody take care of yourselves. And, the holidays can be tricky. And sometimes when you have a good holiday, the come down on the other side of it
Yeah,
can be tricky,
yeah,
just sort of getting into the grind of winter. So, a reminder to myself and everyone else just to like be gentle and take care of yourself
yeah,
as like
please.
the big excitement of everything is over.
Exactly. And like, I know that January, just like I'm sure everyone's Instagram feeds are being pummeled with like people drinking green juices or dry Januarying or whatever, and just do what's best for you. And there doesn't need to be January 1 doesn't mean shit.
Yes. To quote King
So
Richards, do what works for you.
do what works for you. Yes.
Hmm.
All right. Well, friend, it was great to see you.
You
Everyone, thank you
too.
so much for listening. Happy New Year to everybody. And we
We'll talk
will
to you next
be
week.
back next week. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margee are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.